Earlier in another video, we looked at this photo here and we converted it to black and white and added a little bit of a tint and a little bit of grain to it. I want to show you a way that you can take what we did in the techniques when adding the black and white and adding the tint and adding the grain and save it as a preset so that if you ever come across another photo that you want to use the same treatment on, you can do it with basically just one click. All right, so let's come over here. Let's go to our HSL grayscale panel here. Let's turn this into a black and white. We know that if we adjust the oranges and the yellows and the reds, we'll be able to get to the skin tones and make it a little bit brighter. Okay. And come here to the greens and I can kind of tweak the background a little bit. Don't forget, we'll come back over to the basic panel. If you're doing a black and white, a lot of times it helps to come over here and tweak the basic panel a little bit. So we'll kind of tweak the blacks. But most importantly, let's come to our split toning panel. I'll go down to shadows because I don't really typically like to do anything to the highlights in split toning. We'll get it over toward that golden color, add a little bit of a tint. Come to our effects panel and we will add some post-crop vignetting. Feather it out a little bit here, like so. And we'll also add some grain to it. Okay, you're not really going to see the grain until I zoom in. Got to kind of be zoomed in to see most of the grain. Let's take a look here. Before, after. Okay, so at this point, I've done a set of changes to the photo. And if you decide that you like what you've done here, if you like the treatment that you've added to your photo, regardless of what it is, it doesn't have to be a black and white treatment. It could be anything here inside of Camera Raw. But regardless of what it is, you can come over here to your presets panel. Okay. Click on the new preset icon, and it's kind of like the synchronize dialog box where you tell Photoshop, you tell Camera Raw what kinds of things you want to save into this preset. So let's come over here, let's turn off, let's go straight to grayscale conversion because I know I want to save that. I know I want to save split toning. I know I want to save the post-crop vignetting. I know I want to save grain. And then at this point, it's kind of up to you whether you want to save exposure. Did I change exposure as part of the effect for this photo, or did I change exposure because this specific photo was underexposed? So when it comes to presets, you have a little bit of a decision to make, especially in the settings up here, because what the exposure for this photo may work fine, but if I save exposure in this, it might not work the same for another photo. So usually I'll just save everything else but the exposure and the shadows and the blacks and the whites and all that stuff, because that's usually very photo specific. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm going to call this, let's call this black and white with tint and, okay, that's going to be too long of a name. Let's knock it down here. Let's call it, instead of black and white, we'll call it B&W with tint and grain. There we go. So I give it a descriptive name. I click OK. It shows up here in the presets panel. I can close Camera Raw down. I can open it back up a day, a week, a month later, whatever it is. I open Camera Raw back up, come to a different photo, and I decide I want to apply that same treatment to this photo. When I come over here to the presets panel, even if it's a different photo, it's going to remember that I have a preset. I'll be able to come in here again, even if I have a totally different photo, click on that preset, and it applies the same effect for me. So then I don't have to go through all the sliders and do the same thing, and the post-crop vignette and the grain and all that. So really useful little things here. If you come across treatments and things that you find yourself doing to your photos all the time, they make really good candidates to turn into presets. So basically, after that, you can apply them in just one click.